Hello everyone, welcome to Technia TV. I, Mansi Chopra, faculty of BAJMC department from Technia Institute of Advanced Studies is going to deliver a lecture on non-linear world system theory. World system theory, which is also known as world system analysis or the world system perspective, is a multidisciplinary macro-scale approach to world history and social change which emphasizes the world system and not nation states as the primary but not exclusive unit of social analysis. It divides the world into three categories. First, core nations. Core nations are the most economically diversified, wealthy and powerful economically and military, have a strong central governments controlling extensive bureaucracies and powerful militaries, have a stronger and more complex state institutions that help manage economic affairs internally and externally, have a sufficient tax base so state institutions can provide infrastructure for a strong economy, highly industrialized and produce manufactured goods rather than raw material for exports, have a significant means of influence over non-core nations, relatively independent of outside control. Throughout the history of the modern world system, there has been a group of core nations competing with one another for access to the world's resources, economic dominance, and hegemony over periphery nations. Occasionally, there has been over core nations with clear dominance over others. According to Immanuel Wallerstein, a core nation is dominant over all the other when it has a lead in three forms of economic dominance over a period of time. First, productivity dominance allows a country to produce products of greater quality at a cheaper price compared to other countries. Second, productivity dominance may lead to trade dominance. Now, there is a favorable balance of trade for the dominant nation since more countries are buying the products of the dominant country than buying from them. Third, trade dominance may lead to financial dominance. Now, more money is coming into the country than going out. Bankers of the dominant nations tend to receive more control of the world's financial resources. Peripheral nations. Peripheral nations are the least economically diversified. They have a relatively weak government. They also have relatively weak institutions with tax base too small to support infrastructural development. They also tend to depend on one type of economic activity, often by extracting and exporting raw materials to core nations. They also tend to be the least industrialized, have a population with high percentage of poor and uneducated people. They have a very high social inequality because of small upper class that own most of the land and have profitable ties to multinational corporations. Peripheral nations are extensively influenced by core nations and their multinational corporations and often forced to follow economic policies that help core nations and harm the long-term economic prospects of peripheral nations. Historically, peripheries were found outside Europe such as in Latin America and today in sub-Saharan Africa. Semi-peripheral nations. Semi-peripheral nations are those that are midway between the core and periphery. Thus, they have to keep themselves from falling into the category of peripheral nations and at the same time they strive to join the category of core nations. They tend to be countries moving towards industrialization and more diversified economies. These regions often have relatively developed and diversified economies but are not dominant in international trade. They tend to export more to peripheral nations and import more from core nations in trade. Semi-peripheries can come into existence from developing peripheries and declining cores. Historically, the two examples of semi-peripheral nations would be Spain and Portugal. I hope you understand the topic nonlinear world system theory. For more videos, please like and subscribe Technia TV. Thank you.